Welcome. Give me a few seconds to get my marbles together here. Hope everybody's having a good day. Had to get my streaming key going. Let me mute this baby. Everybody can hear me okay? The one watching now anyway. Off to a late start. Give me a few seconds here. There we go. A few more minutes. Okay, I got one more thing to do. Then we'll get me some water, and then we're going to get started. Okay. Four here. Welcome to the pre-election watch list. I'm gonna go get my water and I'll be right back and we'll get started. Welcome to I Love Stocks. Put on a happy face. Pre-election watch list. There's kind of three scenarios we need to go over here. How the results of an election, especially in these unprecedented times. And let me Can everybody hear me okay? Jamia? Yep, we'll do a Jamia here. Back, a little desk cleaned off so I can write these down. But first we got 3 scenarios we're going to go over. And right now I kind of called pullback in October. We had a good pullback. You know, we're going to look at the S&P or the SPX on the 200 here. This is my guideline on the SPX, and I'll pull up the yearly. I have kind of like a little barrier right here at 3,200.02 that I want to meet, and I think we'll meet it Monday. We kind of found a little bit of support here. So I think if Trump wins and we have a divided Congress again and control the Senate, we'll have the same kind of reality that we've had in the past years. And there will get a stimulus passed, so I'm bullish that way. And if if the other person wins, we'll have a little correction in uncertain. Well, first we'll have the uncontested election. That's another scenario. But if Biden wins and they control the Senate and the House, we're going to have a lot of stimulus. So the market will be artificially fed like it is right now. So we'll be bullish with small correction. Now, if we have a contested election, we'll have uncertainty, and we'll probably we'll probably have a delayed stimulus package. So we could have a choppy market. So either a Biden win or a Trump win, we're still going to be bullish. And if we have a contested election, the market will be a little bit choppy. But my support level is going to be right here on the SPX, right around 3202, right around 3200. If that doesn't hold, we'll bring it on down to about this 3139.79 area. That's my opinion on the election in a way. So I want to look at stocks. Tech stocks have always done well. They did well during the Obama administration. They're doing well now, especially now with COVID. We have increased COVID cases, but we have less death. So our respondents is much better now. That's positive in a way. That could keep the market still bullish. If anybody notices how I've been trading lately, I've only been scalping, and I've been waiting and calling the reversals on the SPY for the last 11 times in a row. I think the bears come in here and tackle the market, and then the bulls kind of regain it back up because we're still in a bullish market. That's my opinion. And so I come in here, cash, you know, hardly ever swing right now until we have a certainty about the election. Tech stocks have pulled back pretty good, and I'm going to name a couple of them. And we'll start off with Jamia, because I've got it on the top of my list. That's funny, just because of the screen, huh? So we've got 5 viewers right now. We've got a big audience. At least we're going to sit here and learn a little bit. But we do like this SPX to hold right here at 3,200. The next one I'm going to talk about is going to be Jamia, JMIA. It's in the electric car business. I think I had an alert on this thing pulled back. Let me clear all this mumble jumble up right now. Let me first look at it at the 20-day. So I had a red line support right here. You see where we kind of, on this 20-day chart, we've pulled back and we consolidated right in here. In fact, I need to add another trend line right to the bottom of these 2 candles to find a real solid support. Oops. I'll get her in there right about there. So that's your low scenario right there, that 1447. If you don't, you're going to come down and meet about halfway, about a 50% retracement at 14 bucks. We're bullish on this stock. This is like, you know, the next Amazon in a few years. But you see, we've touched down here and we bounced, we touched down here and we had that big run, and we've had a pretty good 5-day pullback. So the 5-day rule comes in effect. If you ever heard me talk about the 5-day rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On Wall Street, they have a 7-day rule. Some people have a 3-day rule when scalping. But my 5-day rule means I'm in the mid breeze of that, which is a pivot point between the 3-day sell-off and the 7-day sell-off. And a lot of the fat cats look at the 7 days, where I try to be a step ahead and look at the 5 days. So on the 5-day, we did pull back to the support level, if that makes any sense, at 1465. So jot these two numbers down, and jot these three, 1361, and we'll go back to the 20-day and I'll show you why. See, we had these white soldiers right here, 1, 2, 3, and then she started kind of showing a little bit of when you see, okay, you got this overlapping right here, and the wicks are pretty well even. That's pretty solid. But when you get to this other candle, you start seeing a little bit of weakness. Still held above that, but then you had this right here. You know, that's not too impressive. That's time to get out of the trade, unless you want to kind of hold it on up. So 1361, your low scenario. 14 bucks, and that 1447's got a hold. Resistance to break on Jamia is going to be right here at 1920. Then our target was 20 bucks last week, and look what we hit, 1974. So we definitely had a pullback on it. 1974 right there. So that's where you're going to have your double top. Then we can get past 20, and that's where that trend line's going up to that $20 level. Low support that has to hold at 1465. If not, you've got them other three support levels. You can stop this at any time and jot these down. And another one I want to kind of mention is the SPY. You know, we're calling the SPY out pretty good. I'm going to see what we got here on the 5 days, what I got to erase. Yeah, let's clean it all up. We'll start fresh with the SPY. I like these red support levels, but we're going to try something fresh. I mean, this in here was a very good resistance level, this 330.19. But we're going to adjust it a little bit. We're going to look for support on the SPY for the election here, pre-election support level. Now I want you to notice this very well, and this kind of makes me a little bit excited. We've had the last 3 months, we've pulled back to that, almost to that 3-month low. See, we hit that low right here and she bounced up. She tried to break out, pulled back and hit that. So that's a solid support. That's going to be our little pivot point. We have a little pivot point channel right here. We have the SMAs, we're working with the SMAs. This is the 200 SMA and the 50. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a little scenario right in this little 6-pack here. And I want to try to find an equilibrium to this height. And I'm going to go ahead and draw me a trend line right there. Then we'll draw one right here. Then we'll draw another one right here. Then we're going to kind of pull this up. Look at the 20-day. Now see, we've got a resistance level right here. So I want to make sure I get that in there. That resistance level, you know why? Because of this candle right here. I got that wick touching right there. Then we're going to bring this to the 20-day and see what I missed. So low scenario red line's going to be about 321. Then we got another little channel that goes on down. And I think that'll be probably, well, see right there where that is at 312. That's going to be your low support scenario if Biden wins. Biden wins, will go down to 312.82 and bounce up that. So this is going to be our Biden trend line. And I'm going to type that in here. Biden trend line of support. I know it sounds goofy, don't it? But I expect a pullback if he is elected. And we'll make that blue. Being he's blue. Then we'll make the Trump. The Trump will be right here at 320. And that's where we're going to put the Trump ticket. We'll make that one red. And I'll give him a little bit of heat because I think he's in the lead. Then I'll write that up here. Red lines, Trump ticket. Okay. So we made red is Trump support. Now, if it's contested election, we're going to pull on back down to this other support level right down here, right around 297. We're going to write contested. I'll type that in here, and we're going to make that let's do this again. I'll put right down here. And that's going to be, let me see what kind of color would be a good one for that one. It's going to be right around in here, this area right in here. 298.04. And we'll make this color gold. That'll be our golden ticket for the rebound. And I'll type that in here. And all these are going to be able to rebound. We always rebound after a good election, but this is kind of unprecedented times. So we got three different supports. We got the Trump one at 320.22, 321. We got the Biden win at 312.82, and then we got the uncontested election down here at 398 to hold. And that's going to be the SPY. Does that sound kind of funny? Now the next one we're going to do is going to be in Amazon, AMZN. Got it all cleaned up right here. We got the low scenario right down here at the 200. If it does pull back, I think we can pull back to this low scenario right around 3 grand. I'm looking at the 3 months, 5 months. I'm looking at the same pattern that all these other stocks have had. So if they pull back, and you can see it, let's see if it does it in Facebook. Not as much as, well, no, that ain't Facebook. Facebook, same kind of pattern. See what I'm saying? Same kind of pattern. We got Microsoft. Same kind of pattern. They all have that same kind of pattern. They all have had that up, down, and pull back. So the market's trending with itself. All the stocks are trending together. So what I'm saying is, you get out there and you pick out your top 10 lists that have financially stable companies that you really like, that are in the tech sector, they'll all rebound pretty well. You know, let's look at Zoom. I'm just kind of scanning over to show you my theory here on the 3-month sell-off. This one here has been a very popular stock, but here we go, up, down, and pull back to the support. See what I'm saying? 3 months, pulling back to support. Some of them took pretty good hard hit. TSLA. Prime example. This one broke that 3-month support level. See, I'm going back, when I'm seeing the sell-offs, I use the 200 and the 50 SMA for support and resistance levels. Now this one here broke a very major support level right here. And that was the time to know that, you know, this wasn't worth it, and it was going to pull back to this engulfing candle right here. See what I'm saying? Now you have the obstacle that might pull back to this 200 and bounce on up. That's where the breakout started to begin. So I think there's still more time for a pullback on this one, and I think it can probably pull back to this lower scenario of the 200 SMA on the yearly, and then go ahead and start to retrace. We did break a failed support on that. So that's what you're looking at. When you're in the sell-off, look at the bigger picture and then see what kind of patterns are forming. And then when you start to see a reversal, you know, like this one failed, but all the other ones have held that support level. This one has failed. Then you have your other ones like Nile. You know, Nile's been a monster. Look at this. All the way from down here, all the way up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of pure gain. Every time it has a big engulfing candle, it consolidates and creates a flag. We've had a lot of these where it consolidated, created a flag, engulfed, consolidated, had a pullback. Now this is rhyme and reason that you need to think, okay, are we overextended on Nile? Does it need to consolidate now? Because we did have that big engulfing candle. Will it consolidate for, you know, a week or two? Will it consolidate in a month in this flag? Or will it pull back and find support down here right around 25 bucks and consolidate in this flag? So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a scenario that this stock's overextended. And we're looking at a scenario that every engulfing pattern that we have, it has a sideways correction. It has a sideways flag. History repeats itself. So that's Nile. That's kind of how you got to look at that. So let's look at the 20-day on Nile, you know. I've had I had this one here, and then we had the big breakout. And I was kind of thinking it would pull back into this area. It never did. But what it did do is it found support off this 200 on the 20-day. Now this is the SMA. See how it can ride? That's still showing that it still has the mustard. And it's showing that the 50 is above the 200, which is showing that it's still bullish. But these are the 200 SMA and the 50. So we consolidated in this channel. And then we're starting a descending pattern right here. So we either need to break out past the resistance level of the flag, and I'm going to go ahead and chalk this in here. We'll magnify this up. This is how you're going to find a resistance for it to break. And this is Nile. You take it and you run that flag right up there to the top of that, and you go to that next candle right there, and then you just go ahead and extend it on out to the right. Same way with this scenario right down here. See, I've already kind of started this. This is how I called it out in the day, a triple bottom play. So I'm just going to go ahead and extend it on out to the right. I'm just looking at it for right now. Here we'll do. I'm going to show you how I looked at this, how I called this out on. See this right here? That's how I found trend throughout the day. As long as it held above that trend, I was okay. But once you went out of it, that was a different scenario. But for right now, we can flag this thing from right here to right about it to this second pullback right here, and extend out on out to the right. See how that found support right there? So that's the new flag. We'll just go ahead and take this. I want to take this off. And then still have that flag there, but this is the new flag right here. So we're going to magnify this back to the 20-day or the 5-minute. We got to break that resistance of 31 on Monday, or it'll keep that pulling back. This is a Pennant Flag. It's called a Pennant Flag. Okay, and then she kind of just held on Friday pretty well. So we had the low case scenario of it breaking up here right around 31 bucks. Then we got a resistance at 31.34. right about, yeah, we'll just do it there right around 45, and then you got this other one right up in here, right around 32. Pullback support is going to be your first one right here at 30.11, 29.55, 29.20 with a strong buy right here at 28.87, and that's going to be Nile. Remember how I kind of talked about it? We'll go back to the 20-day, and I just want to go over this one more time. Big old breakouts, and it kind of wants to pull back a little bit. Well, this ain't the good scenario. I know I was talking about a different flag here. Here we go. She kind of makes flags. She consolidates, pulled back a little bit, but the momentum of the trade, we had these two big engulfing candles, so I expect it to pull back to that probably at $28 level for a strong buy. I've got 28.87 alerts set up. That's Nile. Anybody else got another one they want me to look at? So we know what my scenario is on the pre-election. I'm still very, October's always been a sell-off before any election, but this is an uncontested, unprecedented election that Wall Street has never seen in its lifetime. So you have to call, which I would call the market is an irrational exuberance right now. People are, panic buying. The retail trader is keeping up the fat cats in the game, or they probably shorted this market a long time ago. So a lot of retail traders are to me the backstop of what we got going on now. I don't think we'll ever have another depression in Wall Street. I think there'll always be plays to be made on the dips. So you'll always constantly be bullish. You just got to be smart about it. Next one we're going to talk about is going to be Amazon. Amazon's got that same kind of pattern. So we got a low scenario support level for it to pull back right in this area right in here. You see? That's going to be that lower support in the pivot point. Amazon. Bullish on Amazon. They got the money. They're going to be spending about $4 billion next year fighting COVID. So that's the catalyst why it pulled back. I don't think it's nothing to worry about. To me, it's a humanitarian spending which needs to be done. You got to be safe for your business. If you don't put that money in there and something screws up, your company's going to be messed up. So I'm going to this scenario right here for the next support level. It's at 29. That's around that 3,000 place where I like. And then this next one's going to be right here. Okay. Now, I thought we were going to start to kind of turn around Friday, but I should keep thinking we're in this scenario. After the election, this thing's going to break out. 20 bucks. I bet anybody 20 bucks after the election, this thing's going to rebound and go back up. So we got this pullback here on the 20-day, right about in here. That 30.81 is going to be a real solid resistance to break. Now, I talk about my horizontal trend lines, and I can pull these back to years and still play off the same trend line. History repeats itself constantly. We're going to go ahead and put another one right here where that low scenario on the 20-day 1 hour hits them wicks. So that's going to be our hard resistance to break, and then we'll get on up to this area right up in here. Let's take one more look at that yearly on the 20-day. We did break the 50, and we're getting down here. But I want to see it hold this channel. That's my scenario. If the SPX breaks to that lower support that I mentioned earlier, we'll probably see Amazon right down here. If this is a Biden play, that's going to be your low support. 29.28. Trump going to be right here, probably around 29.74, and then maybe right in here for just your solid support level. Now it can break down to a contested election, right down to 2,778.82. In that scenario right in there, in that little place right in there. Contested election is going to break the support. A Biden win could bring us right here, and a Trump win can bring it to about right here. And the momentum will continue on Amazon. Next one, Anybody have any suggestions? Facebook. And then Twitter. Twitter's going to be a good one too. So we got the same scenario on Facebook. We have the 3 support levels to keep it in the channel. We have the Biden, we have the contested election right down here, right around 2:30. Somewhere in this scenario right in here, 222.01 to 2:30. And we have probably the pullback to support levels right in here, right around the 246 for a Biden win. And then maybe a Trump win, maybe right around the 255.94. I think this channel would be a nice little channel to keep it in if either one wins. And that's between 250 and 255 with a resistance to break up in these areas up in here. I'm pretty pleased with his testimony in Congress, and I give thumbs up to Facebook earnings. We had a beautiful little pullback on Friday, as you can tell. I mean, found support. You know, it was a nice little bounce back to that 200. And let me see if I can find it on the 20-day, how I found that. See that right there? See that pullback on the 20-day? That's your low support area, that 255.94 to 260.65. I think the resistance to break is going to be this channel right in here. And that's going to be right there, right around the 264.99 area. I'm bullish on Facebook. I'm, censorship, but at least Zuck, I give him 75%. I used to be down on him a little bit more, but I just pleased on how he handled himself last week. Twitter. We're ready, for a nice little sell-off on Friday. I think we can get a retracement back up a little bit. TWT. Now, if you're in any bad trades that you want me to look at, any penny stocks, and I'll look at VVPR here after Twitter. If you're in any, if you're concerned about a stock, or if there's a stock you want to get in, let me know, and I'll help you try to find a support level for the pre and after election with the contested, the Biden, and the Trump win. Now, Twitter to me is disgusting. Although I post a lot on there, I'm just not happy with Jack in the Box. So I think this stock can pull back a lot more. My opinion, I'm biased in the trade. When a person's biased in the trade, you can only take that for a grain of salt. You take anybody's picks with a grain of salt. You do all your own homework. I've got a low support channel with Twitter. I think it was way overextended. I kept saying it kind of in the room. I said, wow, man, no. Now that his testimony on Congress last week was pretty disgusting, I think it can pull back more. We do have a support level, but I'm biased in the trade. Bias, remember that. We got low support here at 39.06 and 36.64 and 39.06. I think it can pull back down to that channel. We did pull back to my other 2 support levels that I had at this 43.66 level and this 41.16. So it should try to find support right around 36.64. That's where I would probably take the entry. And I would probably put a short on it. I don't think it's going to bounce back on up. I think this has been damaged a little bit and needs to pull back. VVPR. And we're always looking for channels and stuff, but I think this one here is more just about the pullbacks on pre-election. VVPR's had a nice little pullback. Definitely. I'm going to clean this all up. I'm going to check out the news. I don't particularly like the volume. RSI could pull back down here to this lower level at 30. Vivo Power closing offering. They did close an offering of 28 million on the 19th. Good. Electric Keyshaw won $1.3 million contract in Australia. Good. Okay, so that puts me in a 50% bullish range. Okay, because I know they completed an offering, they got some money in their pocket now, and they got them in a small little contract. So I want to look for a place that we can find a solid support level on this chart, and I've spotted it right off the bat. We've had a pretty good little sell-off. I don't know if this was because of a split. I gotta go back. What day was this? This was on the 10-9, right in here. Right here. Viva Power surges. Green at 50%, 56% required, 51 stake of that. So that's, you know, somebody's interested. Let me keep this going, scrolling down. A lot of news came out on this day. Yeah. So now I want you to look at one thing on this chart here. I'm going to pull up this other chart that I got. Fibonacci. We're going to find a real solid buy entry. Are you in the trade right now? Are you in VVPR? There's your 50% retracement right there from that breakout. So we're going to put that on here for resistance level. It's going to be right around that line right there, right in here. So we're going to come in here. We're going to do a little bit something different. Right about in there. Now we've hit this bottom part of this scenario right down in here. See where the support line is on this Fibonacci? So now we've got a little channel right in here that we're going to go ahead and chalk this up with. Right there. That's where we had this little blowhorn pattern. It's that blowhorn pattern right there. We had higher highs, lower highs. Then she just kind of just broke out. Had a real nice extension on that. So that's going to be like a solid little support level, pivot point in this channel right in here. Low support scenario is going to be right between this little crack right here, right around 504. So let's keep that 504 in mind, and 397 for a strong buy. I want to turn this into a red line. So I'm looking at this right in here to keep, to hold. That's going to be a resistance level if we pull on back to this low scenario of $4. We're going to try to keep it in this here channel. We don't want it to break down below that area right there. So VVPR, jot down on paper, strong buy at $4. Your second real strong support is going to be right around that 504. Now let's change this up a little bit, go to the 20-day 1 hour, see if I missed anything. We've had a pretty good hard sell-off right here, starting to consolidate. Keep them three supports in mind. Resistance to break on this trade is going to be right here, right around this little spot right in here. Okay, 672. And that would be your hard resistance to break. That's VVPR. And I'll pull this back one more time to, if you wanted to stop this video at any time, you can keep this chart to yourself, and or at least write them numbers down, them three right there, and remember that resistance to break. If we can get past 672, we can play in this larger tier right in here, and that pivot point, Do you want to know where that pivot point is in that channel? It's right here. It's right in here. See right there? So we're bringing that to right about there. And it runs right into that 200 at 789. That's it for VVPR. And the next one we're going to discuss is, does anybody remember what happened to IBM? IBM, Vegas called out at the very bottom. I called it kind of out at the bottom. I said, come on, you idiot, IBM. I think we're down here on a reversal play on IBM. It's not my favorite company of all. It's not my favorite, but we did kind of get oversold down here at the bottom. And that was right down here, right around 106. I had this little scenario of right in here, and I'll show you here on the 5-day. This was a little bit of flag we had right here, see? You know what that's called? An ascending triangle on Thursday. She broke out of that ascending triangle and pulled right back to that support level and then bounced on off again. This is something you got to learn when you're a pattern that always happens on an ascending triangle breakout. Not always, but 95% of the time. If you're in a winning trade and you call it an ascending triangle, I'm in this trade way before anybody else, okay? Because I can already spot it way before it happens. But when it happens, it is an insurance policy that we are in a bullish trade. And we did have the breakout. And she did pull back to that support level and then had the huge breakout after that. So it's always a good insurance policy to know that a breakout on an ascending triangle can pull back to the horizontal line, the resistance that it hit 3 times. And this was a quad breakout. That's IBM. I think this thing can run up to 1.7. I had a 113 target. Did hit my resistance right here. Let's go to the 20-day and we can have a little better picture of where I think it can go. I think we can break this 113 area. That's my target on it. We bust past that, we'll get up to about 117, then you start running into resistance. I'm not 100% bullish on IBM, just on the pullback of the company. Same as Intel. I am not 100% bullish on Intel. I think the company is lacking. I think they're lacking in time. Damn, I can't even spell it. Give me the ticker of Intel. I'm having a blackout. Damn, what a nut. So here we are in Intel. Got a little scenario. I think I'm seeing a reversal pattern. We do have what you call an inverse head and shoulders that occurred last week, and that's this scenario right in here, where we're getting up to the neckline, and if we get past that 44.65, we can go up higher to this higher horizontal line at 45.52. Now I'm going to pull up the 3-year chart on this, show you something on the 3-year weekly. We are at 3-year lows. Now there is another low down here on the 3-year if we do not hold at 43.23. I'm using the body of the candles, not the wicks. We did touch down there, and we touched down there in that 3-year period, and then we almost touched down there in COVID days when we had the crash. So we've had another, this is a flag, but we did break that flag pattern Friday. Hit our lower support areas, but this is kind of like a little flag right in here. Higher lows, and should have held right in here at the 200, but it did not. It broke down. I can start to be a little bullish on this trade, I think, but you're going to be going sideways for a while, and if you want to find a resistance on it, a new resistance on it, you go to the 20-day, and I think that resistance level can be no higher than 47 in this area right in here. If it starts to really catch momentum, maybe right down in here, right around 48.67. That's probably where I'd take my profit. I jump in the trade right down here right at 43.87 and hope to gosh that we break 45.53 and then we can start moving up. I'm not 100% bullish on the trade, but I look at this trade like I do at IBM. I mean, it's pure reversal momentum trade right now with an inverse head and shoulders. I've called the pullback on this. I scalped it when we had the knife here. I made 80 bucks on it, and then she just went ahead and pulled on back. I only bought 100 shares. I was down, 80 bucks. I took my money. Hard resistance at 48. Strong buy at 43.87. Right down here at 43.23 is where, I would probably add on. That's going to be Intel. What do you think the market will go down because of the election on Monday? This is my opinion on the market. I kind of talked about it a little bit sooner. I think it's going to go down. If it's contested, we'll have a little ball of volatility, and I'll show you here on the SPY. You can look at the SPY while I'm talking about it. I've already got kind of figured out scenario-wise. Let me get the 200. Put SPY in here. We'll get rid of this mumble. We got the RSI coming down here. I think we can, with a contested election, the RSI can drop on down below the 30. I think that scenario is right around the $300 area. That is if it's contested. Now a Biden win, I think we can get down here to right around 312. There will be a little bit of uncertainty with regulations, but it'll also be backed up with a stimulus plan that'll be very high. It could be another $2 trillion added to the stimulus plan. So low case scenario, Biden win 312. Now Trump, I think we can hold right here, right around the 320 area. That'll be on the SPY. That's kind of my opinion on how I kind of look at my scenario on this market right now. I think we'll definitely pull back. If it's contested, we'll pull back more. And then either Biden or Trump will still have a bullish market. It'll just be more regulations and it'll be more turbulence with Biden for starts. Because you got to have certainty. And this market has not had any certainty at all this year. But the stimulus package and putting money back in people's hands. But I think COVID's not as, and if there is a vaccine, we'll definitely have a good pop in the market. No matter who, no matter if it's contested or not. So that's my fourth scenario. With the vaccine, we're going to have a pop in the market. No matter who is elected, no matter if it's contested, no matter what the heck's going on. And that's going to be the SPY. So the next one, hello Amanda. You got one you want me to talk about? Talk about Tesla. I saw a flag pattern on Tesla I did not like. Did not like it at all. Let me show you what it is. This here is a bearish flag. Come down, that is a bearish flag. We could pull back more to maybe support level right around this 379 area and hold that. That'd be good confirmation that we could hold. But we're going to pull up the yearly. And I've got 3 different scenarios on it too. Now I think it can pull back to this lower area at 336.76 if it's contested election. I think we can get into this area right in here if it's a Biden election, right around the 356 area. And if it's Trump, I think we can stay up in here and hold this channel. And for the ones that are new to the room, I'm talking about a pattern that you can see on almost every ticker right now. It's a 3-month descending pattern. So you try to find you a support level of your previous highs on that 3 months. You'll see this in a lot of stocks. I can just keep going on and on and on with them. Let's look at MU. MU is not a good one to look at. Facebook, we looked at it earlier. See the previous highs. So when you're charting up these stocks in this kind of setting, when we're having unprecedented times and we have an election that just blows your mind. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's almost comical. You got one side having like a little movie theater, people sit in their cars and maybe 20 people show up. Then you got these other big blockbuster crowds, and you got polls saying Trump's going to lose by 10%. I just can't believe any of that crap. I'll never believe in polls. I think they're biased to begin with. I just look at the response I see in the streets. I use common sense, I think, scenario. So I think this thing can pull back to, low case scenario at 246 is going to be a strong buy on Facebook if it does pull back there. But you're seeing this pattern. That's what I'm trying to get at on a lot of stocks. Another one that I was looking at was SHOP. SHOP's getting down to this little support level. You see what I'm saying? That pattern. So I want you, any trade you're in, hello Brad, pull up that yearly chart and look for an equilibrium. Look for the previous lows. If you want to try to find a real solid support, you don't want to jump into it. I know a lot of people right now that didn't take a lot of good advice and are stuck in trades. I cannot be bullish into an election that's like this. I cannot be bullish when the increase of COVID is rising. But I can be bullish in the market, in the trend. And I can be bullish on the rebounds. And I can be bullish, when they pull back. I know that, and I played that scenario every day last week for 2 weeks in a row and come out a winner. I let the bears have their chance every morning, and then I let bulls take in the evening if I see a reversal, a pattern. But I'm seeing right now, the pattern that I'm seeing right now is this little up, down, and trying to find a support level. And I'm finding it, right in here. Low case scenario is going to be this right down here. Now look, see? Have a look, see right here? Watch. 383.57, look what happened here. Can we have a triple McDonald's J-Lo bottom here maybe? The reverse J-Lo bottom. Triple pattern. Triple bottom. You see what I'm saying? Or this scenario right here. With a contested election, you could have this scenario. With a contested election, you could have this scenario. With a Biden or a Trump win, this is the scenario you'll have. You see what I'm saying? A triple bottom bounce back up into that channel and create new highs. That's what you got to kind of think here. See, we have that high right here. We can get back up here and break these highs sometime next year or maybe into Christmas. Solid support right now, right down here on the SPY. So anybody else got something? Do you understand what I'm looking at? I pick good. I like one choice. And I'll tell you what, every one of them is a good one. But do you understand my 3-month scenario? Anybody understand what I'm looking at right here? That solid support on the SPY and why it's got to hold. And then if it's contested, we can get down to these lower, the Biden trend line, which is right around in here. Maybe the Trump trend line. They could probably both be the same, I think. And then, because I think Wall Street's going to be surprised. I think they baked in a Biden win running off of polls Wall Street is disconnected with Main Street and the main people that vote. That's another scenario. There's a big slippage right there between Wall Street and Main Street. And I think they kind of got stuck. I think it's why we had a lot of the pullback, because they're readjusting their portfolio, just seeing the numbers as the race is starting to tighten up. But we can also have that contested election, which would really pull it back. So let's go ahead. I like Plug for long term. I like Chewy as a Christmas play, and I like Apps as a 2021 play. And I'll just go through them real fast right here. Apps. I know these stocks on the top of my head, and I've got the manpower or the mobility to think scenario that, you know, that I am bearish in the market a little bit. We did have a little bit of resistance right here on Apps, and she did close at that support level, as you can tell right here on this big old spinning top. That's not a positive candlestick yet, but it did hold that support level here that we had on the previous. And this is APPS at 28.37. I want to check the news. The fiscal adjustment EPS beats consensus. That's good. Earnings beat. Price target raise. Ooh, price target raise by Oppenheimer to 47. Raises to 35, 31. Yeah, we got us a little trade right here going on. We got a low scenario in this channel on Apps. I'm bullish on the news. I'm bullish on the condition of the environment. I'm bullish on the volume. And I'm seeing a little bit of weakness here where we had to pull back to support at that 28.38. We got one more low case scenario right here at 26.88 with a resistance to break in this channel. I want to put an equilibrium as a pivot point right in here, right there. See, bam, 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 bam. Then we got to come down here and we got to do this. But see, it had a pretty nice little run. Whatever comes out comes back down. So this is an equilibrium, a pivot point in the channel. We got to make that red because that's a very important area. It's a very important area of support. And if we pull back in this channel, it'll be a very important place for a resistance. For right now, we're going to use it as a pivot point. It's going to tell us either it's going to go up or it's going to pull back. It can pull back to this low support where that fat part of that wick is on that 100 EMA at 25.24, or it can hold this support level at 28.38 and break the resistance level of 30.29. And I'd be long, maybe up around $32 with it. And that's where my resistance level would be on Apps. Plug, P-L-U-G. We're going to look at Plug. We're going to find a yearly pivot point on Plug. I already found it, but I'm going to erase all this mumble jumble. It's going to take me about 3 minutes to chart this up. You see right here? You see what that is? That's called an ascending triangle. That's going to be the low support pivot point area that we got to look at. That's going to be a red line. That's very important. Very important for us. It's either going to hold this support level, which was a real solid resistance, with a triple top breakout, which makes it strong, ascending triangle, or it's going to fail and fall back and try to find another support. Resistance to break is going to be right up in this channel, right up in here at 1483. If we can break past that and run above the 9 on the yearly daily, I think we can go ahead and bring her on back up to this level of here, which would be right around the resistance to maybe take your profit, or if you're in long, to pull up. Pull back low support scenario, strong buy is going to be right in here where we had this other breakout at 12 bucks. If it does pull back $2, that's where I start loading up the tickers. Strong buy, no lower than 11.21. And then you've got a little scenario right in here for your first support at 13.15. You see right in there the equilibrium of this channel, which now becomes a support level. Resistance to break 1483 to 1627. Anything above is a gift. Plug. Now that last one, Chewy. Chewy's my Christmas play. I think it's ready to turn. I was calling it out last week. We had a nice little pullback on it. I mean, this thing is ready to turn. We got an alert set at $60 for a strong buy. Let me go to the 20-day. I'm real happy on this reversal on Chewy. I think it's going to be the Christmas play. Who do we love the most? Our pets. You know, I sure love my little Beppy. I miss him probably more than I miss anything in my whole life besides trading stocks. So we got a low scenario right down here, right around the 56 area for a strong buy. I like to see it hold this $60 level between 59.21 and $60. I think I'll start looking for the reversal. If we do break 62.34, we're going to move on up, and we're going to back up in here to this resistance level of 66.85, 67. I think this is a good swing trade. I'd start it out at $60 and run it on up unless it breaks this level of 62.34. I'm bullish 100% into Christmas with Chewy. Next, shop. Yeah, here's one that I called out last week. I was very proud of this call right here. I called it way before everybody else did. I just had a good glance on it. It was my GLBS. I called a low scenario on GLBS. We'll pull up the 20-day here. These are my 2019 trend lines, and it pulled right back down here to my lower support on that 2019 trend line. And that was right, I thought it was lower than this. Let me see here. Yeah, right down here at 665. I called the trade at 687. I said this sucker can go ahead and break 718, and we'll get up to the new highs, and just perfect. And then it bounced off that resistance line twice, and you could have had two 50-cent scalps right there, or 40-cent scalps right there to that next resistance level. So I'm definitely going to add a 781. I think this is kind of trade that I just got lucky with it when I called it. But I did know that I was at a bottom on that yearly. I knew that I was at a bottom on that yearly. And we'll look at the 20-day. It's kind of hard to tell, but I knew we'd hit that 20-day low, and I figured it was a pretty solid support. And that's going to be GLBS. And anybody else have another rocket? RKT. We're at a support level. I talked about this Friday. The IPO level is right down here at support. We'll pull up the yearly, and you can see we're definitely back down here at the support level, okay? I think we're due for a reversal. Home sales were down a little bit, but it always is like that during this time of the year. They pick up during the spring. A lot of people, we had a real good spike in home sales because of the riots and the looting that's going on. People just don't want to live around that atmosphere, and people with money will move. And that's happening a lot. Actually, New York City's getting boarded up because of these idiots out on the street might contest the election and riot. So if that continues, I think we'll have a lot more, we'll have a little bubble in real estate, and we'll also have a pickup in the rural counties. People will move, out of state to warmer climates. I think we're at a bottom. We got a little pivot point area. It's right around $20. I think that's where you need to kind of concentrate if you want to go ahead and take the risk and move it on up. Right now you're at a low support area right down here. And that, that 1750 is a strong buy. Resistance to break is going to be right around 20. 1990, a little under, and if you can break past that, you'll get you a gift of around 120, 140, and then anything above that is a gift. but I think we're definitely at a bottom, and that's RKT. You heard my scenario on Rocket, and this is the same thing with DraftKings. I heard some guy really pumping up DraftKings. I'm biased. I will admit it. I'm biased in the trade, and I can't remember the ticker, man. DKNG, right? But we did pull back to a 200 right here. That could be a support level. I'm biased in the trade because I particularly don't like sports getting involved in politics. So I boycotted sports. And I think a lot of other people did too. You see what I'm saying? People are just getting fed up with it. But we're down here at a support level. Right down here at the 200. So you could start to see a reversal play on DraftKings. I've been up in people's faces about getting in this trade because of my biased nature. But we've had a pretty good sell-off on it, and we could start to see a reversal off this 200 EMA. And maybe let's look at the SMA real fast. KNG. Yeah, we're definitely down here at a low scenario on DraftKings. I can see this little support level right in here. This thing could probably fall back a little bit more, even to 32 something, 32.31, and that would be a very strong buy if it continued to trend down. For right now on that EMA, you could be bouncing off that EMA and running it up to a little resistance level of right around the 37 area. A couple dollar trade. I think you can get $2 scalp out of this pretty easy. And that is DraftKings. CRWD. Minus 37 mark for now. Okay, we'll do CRWD. Here you come. So we got to you got to be in the now. Every trade you enter, you got to think contested election, Biden win or Trump win. And keep that scenario as part of the 5-step program you do when you're 5 things you want to check yourself into when you're getting into a trade. You want to add that scenario in there. What happens if Biden wins? Where's this stock going to go? What happens if Trump wins? Where do I think this stock's going to go? So CRWD. Pretty good little sell-off. Same scenario of 3 months. So we want to try to find a little support. We're going to look for the previous high on CrowdStrike. That's right in this area, right in here. We're going to chalk that up. That's going to be our solid support, okay? That's going to be if the election is either Biden or Trump. I want that to hold. If it's contested, I'm going to bring my scenario down a little bit farther to right around the 105 area. That's a contested election. And if it just doesn't keep up momentum, we could get down here under $100. So for right now, we want to try to keep it in this channel right in here. Contested election right down in here. Let's look at the 200. Yeah, contested election down here. Choppy market, 105. Low support, probably right around the 112. And I like to see the 118 hold into the election day and maybe after. If we can hold that, we'll stick back up into this channel. If not, we'll get back into the contested election channel. I don't know if this is making any sense to you at all. Contested election, I expect to pull back a choppy market. Trump win, Biden win, I expect Trump to probably stay level. I expect a Biden win to pull back and then bounce back up to the levelness. I like crowd. I like crowd. Walmart, that's a recession stock. Walmart's had a nice little pullback. We got this little channel support right down in here, no lower than 135. We're going to go ahead and chalk it right in here at 136, where we had this previous high. I like to see it low scenario, strong buy, no lower than right here at 135.32. I don't think it'll go any lower than that. We did break the 50. I think we can break back resistance to 139.42 and get it back up to this higher channel. It's creating a flag. You're in what trade, crowd? Everybody hit that like button if you appreciate this. If not, please hit that dislike button. Tell me to go to WKHS. Let's see what else we can be looking at. We got a Pins is a good one. Pins is a good one. Pins and Snap. Okay. Now, Pins was overextended. You know, I like to talk about these overextended stocks. Now, you know why any stock is overextended right now? Anybody know why any stock is overextended right now? Because of the elections, because of COVID, because of stimulus, because of the tech boom, the bubble. We're in a tech bubble, and we're correcting the bubble. We're correcting the bubble. I had 3 low support scenarios on pins. No lower than 54.15 for a strong buy. Now I think that can get down there and then start to rebound on back up. It's a little more than that 50% retracement, but if you look at it on a 20-day and we look at the Fibbies, we'll get right about here. We're looking at a 50% retracement right about that previous high. So that 15 is a serious support level. So on pins, strong buy at 54.15. Second support right around 56.77. And that first one right here at 58.11. That's where I think the pullback on that stock, that has to hold this 54.15, okay? If not, we'll pull back into this channel. But that's going to be a strong entry level at 54.15 for pins. Another one is Zoom. I've got some pretty good little supports on Zoom. I like this 458.60 to hold. Now let's pull up the yearly chart. We had the pullback scenario. This has been a very good momentum play. We've had 3 black soldiers right here. I mean 3 black crows. Anybody know what a 3 black crow is? It's in the room. Anybody hear me talk about them quite a bit? Let me see if I can find it here. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. A lot of times is the way I play this game. We have 3 black crows, and I'll try to look for a confirmation on the next day of a candle. I like to see a spinning top. I like to see maybe a hammer. I like to see and if it's in a daily, 1 minute, I like to see that spinning top, and I like to see build up momentum to the top of this, maybe this third crow. And usually when it goes to the top of the third crow, you'll have a little pullback to maybe to inside the body of this candle for a good entry level, as long as it does not go below this body. If it goes below this body, you start to get a little bit bearish. But if you can break above this body, then you'll have what you call three white soldiers, and you can usually run it up to resistance level. That's a scenario of three black crows, and that's what you see right here. So what I'm thinking is, strategically, if I'm going to take zoom, we had that pullback support right here. We had that previous high on that candle right here on that little spinning top, and it did pull back. Then the reversal began. So I think we can hold this support level at 458. If we do, we'll go back up to 502.76, which is the top of the base of this candle. This is zoom. I'm bullish on zoom for a reversal call. Zoom. Back up to the scenario up in here. And that's where we started this pattern right here, and she finally failed. But I think we're ready for a reversal. And that's on zoom. That's how you play three black crows. Pay attention here. I'm going to do this one more time. Three black crows. And we'll be a 50% retracement if we just take it back to 502. And look, that's a $40 bounce. Anybody disagree with me that we could have a reversal on zoom here? I'd like to know. And I want to ask Room a question. And I want you to put it down in the comment section. I want you to tell me what moving average is your favorite 3 moving averages when you're day trading, or when you're scalping, or when you're swing trading. And I want you to put them down in the comment section down below the video here so I can look at them and study the charts. But I want to know your 3 favorite moving averages and how you use them on a continuous basis 50% of the day to find supports. And then we'll look at, we've got pins, DraftKings I talked about, Roku and Square. Let's look at, and Bind. Okay, Bind is going to be bullish. We did break out of my little channel here on Bind. I got a little support scenario right around 130. In case it does go down to Bind, goes down to 130, that'll be a strong buy. Bind. I like to see it hold this channel right here at 140 and move on back up, get back up to this resistance box. There's a little pivot point in this area right in here, and that's going to be right at 157. Oh, what's going on here? Little pivot point resistance right there at 156.27. That's the pivot point. I think we can reverse at 140.66. 146, and then have a resistance level at 156. This is a good swing trade idea into Christmas. Bind. NVDA is a good one. I want you, Amanda, put that down there in the comment section, down below. Alan, put that down there in the comment section. Because I don't want to go, I won't be able, I don't want to go through this. I want to see, then I'm going to reply to your comments down below in the comment section. I want to study the chart. Bind, we like. Bind for reversal, bind for a swing trade, strong buy at right around 130. Roku, R-O-K-U. We're looking at pre-election idea. Ooh, what happened with Roku? Okay, Roku shares trade lower, not currently seeing company news. Okay, overdone. Overdone. I got a strong buy at 193.18. overdone. We got support level here at 201. Yeah, I think we're going to rebound up here. I don't think it going any lower than 201.11. If it does, strong buy at 193.18. I think we're going to bounce back up easily to 216.84. That's going to be a swing trade. I don't think this is going to hurt. Scenario on Roku is going to be a bad deal. I think it is overextended a little bit. Low scenario of 193.18 for a strong buy. If it holds 201.11, we'll start to retrace back up. Resistance to break is going to be 204.50. If we can break past that, we'll fill the gap back up to 216 on Roku. I'm 70% bullish on Roku. Square. Okay, we definitely broke support on Square. That was right here at 170. Low scenario buy, strong buy on Roku is going to be down here at, Square is going to be here at 133.52. Strong scenario. Your first support no lower than 146.42 to get into the trade. Then you have two lower supports if you wanted to, 140 and 133.62. I don't see it going any lower than 133.52. I see a resistance to break right here at 159.31. We have the wick of that candle and the body of that. We have the wicks here. Hard resistance. If you break 159, we'll take her back to 170. No questions asked. That is Square. I'm going to pull this to the 20-day just to have a little second glance. Yeah, everything just falls in place. Yeah, this was overdone. I don't see anything down here in the news. Justice Department. DO to Credit Karma tax. Department approval. 7 billion purchase at Credit Karma. Square in talks to buy Credit Karma. That's why the dip. That's why. Yeah. So let's look at this one more time. The news is kind of filtered out into a different scenario. I think 146.42 is going to be a strong buy at 150.95 Square. So let's think for a little pullback a couple more times and then snatch it up to rise up. I can't see it going any lower. I really like that 146 and 142 channel, okay? I want to keep Square on watch this week. I think that's going to be kind of one to learn from. NVIDIA. NVDA. Okay. Same kind of scenario. Let's remove the drawing set. So we got to kind of think of a bottom support. We got to use this in the time frame of that 3-month period. Okay? Right there. See that? 475. That's the bottom of the channel. Then the next resistance level is right up in here somewhere. And we'll just kind of, I want to concentrate on this right over in here. Bam. And that's where we kind of closed at, right there. Almost perfect, see, 521. And a little resistance level right in here. And it gets tricky up here, see. That's your long-term scenario. Low support to hold, if we do have a knife, no lower than 455. Strong buy at 475.98. First support right in here, right around 487.65. And then resistance to break at 518.16. I'm bullish on NVIDIA. Okay? I'm bullish on NVIDIA. I just think if we do pull back a little bit, it'll be a strong buy up. Tech sector. Snap. Next. SNA. So I had 4 or 5 real good calls in here for swing trades. Snap's another overextended play. Snap can fall back all the way to this 34.85. Okay? I mean, this is way overextended. You had 3 white soldiers right here. Uno, dos, tres. After 3 white soldiers, you consolidate. So always remember when you're playing that scenario of the 3 white soldiers, this is the scenario that you'll get. You'll get a spinning top, and a lot of times you'll pull back to that previous 3rd candle right there. Now I want to look at the same idea on this chart, on Snap. You have that 3 white soldiers. You had consolidation. Then you had that big pullback on Friday. So this scenario could bring you back here to 35 bucks. We could have another $4 dip on Snap for a strong buy. And then she'll start to consolidate and break, and then your resistance levels will be right in here between these candles on the daily. You got that scenario? Now look, see where it pulled back and closed? To the body of that 3rd soldier. So the next close could be down here, and the next close could be down here, and the same way with the reversals back up, as you saw in that diagram. You get 3 black crows, 3 white soldiers, 3 black crows, 3 white soldiers, 3 black crows. But that's a good one to test yourself in right now. I think we're due for a little bit more pullback on Snap. It'll always be a great day scalper. I mean, we had a real hard sell-off on Friday, so let's look at a 5-day. Sell-off, scalp it up to resistance, where she was last. Little sell-off, then she more or less bullish and broke out. Sell-off, pre-market, nice little run. Then finally pulled back to support. Closed up nicely. Sell off, rebound. All after hours and pre-market, sell off, rebound. These are pretty good little bounces, you know. So just look for them reversals. When you see times of consolidation, you can see a good bounce on the scenario on that. Same as over in here. It did kind of fool you a little bit, pulled back to support for a double bottom, and then had the break. You know, I talk about double bottoms a lot. So the next one we want to talk about, Apple. Apple kind of mismatch. I didn't appreciate that they didn't come out with a forecast. That was my and you can tell how the response was the next day after earnings. So we got to try to find us an equilibrium. I'm going to go ahead and erase everything off, start fresh. Apple a day will keep the doctor away. Let's go to a yearly. Here we are with that same scenario. See? It repeats itself on every stock ticker, and I think all these stocks will maybe rebound and turn around on the bottom of that V right there, or W or M. So that's going to be our tested support level at 104.61. I think we can pull back to this. There's bearish sentiment on the trade right now. I do believe once we hit that 104.61, Apple will turn around and find some resistance right here on the crack of the butt right around 112.44. Anything above that's going to be a gift. You know, start taking your profit at 117.47. Apple. If we get a double bottom at 104.61, I think we can start to retrace up to this channel. That's a pretty good little trade. Find the bottom, buy at support on these trades. These trades that are having a little bit of issues, don't buy them at resistance. Let them come to you. Let them pull back. I think we can see 105. You got to give me at least 50-cent threshold on these trades here, on these big spreads. But I'm liking 105 for a strong buy, and then a reversal back to 112. And that's the same way that I was talking about IBM. IBM to me is a good strong buy right now. Even more on when we called it out down here at 107. If we break 113 on IBM, we'll go up higher to about 116. That's a $3 trade. Did you look at Apple? Did you get my Apple, Alan? Did you understand it? Hit that like button. Share this video with your friends. We still got some more time. I want to go over my theory again on the election. Contested election, we're going to have a choppy market. A Biden win, we're going to have a pullback and then a rebounce. A Trump win, we'll just go ahead and continue on up. Now, I think I'm bullish no matter what scenario we're in. I'm going to be playing the dips on a contested election throughout the rest of the year. And I've been playing it real safe for the last month. I've been all cash, been scalping every day, and it's been very successful. I will not swing into an unprecedented election. Unprecedented times. And anybody else have another pick? I'm going to pick one on the top of my head. Let's go through here. Some scenarios. CCL. CCL had cruise lines lifted, if anybody remember. That could give a little bit of volatility to the airlines. I think CCL is a good little stock to be trading right now into the rest of the year. Let's look at the 20-day. And I called George, got up on voice in our room. If you're not familiar with George, he's from the trade exchange. He pops in every once in a while and gives us updates. I had a resistance to break at 1301. That's where my new support's going to be. I think the second one could be right around the 1338 with your first one right here at 1371. Resistance to break is going to be this 1434 on CCL, and then we'll double top around the 1541 area. That's where you start thinking that you're in the gift. Anything above it is a gift. $13 is your strong buy. They got to set up a framework for COVID. So we are going to pull back. We are setting up an ascending triangle Friday. Let's look at the 1 day, 1 minute. See, just couldn't break that resistance. That was that channel. That's CCL. Same as the airline stocks. Let me see if I can find them goals. Boeing's down here at a very strong buy place. We talked about this once before. Boeing, let me show you for example. You go back, and we're back definitely at a very good support level on Boeing. Why? We pulled back here once before and had that nice little run up to the 100. This is Boeing. See? And we did break that support level Friday. And that was right at that $145 mark. I think it was a little bit overdone there. but the shutdowns of Germany and some of them other countries, and all down shutdown, could bring the stock back down to a lower support, which it did right here at 141.11. So we just kind of have to see how the market reacts come in on Monday on the airlines. But Boeing, we could be starting to look for a reversal pattern. We do have lower lows, and I think we can get down to a little bit lower spot and then start seeing the tape and people start buying in and piling in on this trade. On Boeing, no lower than 135. EVFM. For the ones that are going to be in the room, I'm going to be posting a lot of alerts in Jim's watch list ideas, and those are going to be pullback plays. So if you're always want to look for a second reference and you want to buy at a support level, be sure to go to that room and check it out. I'm not always 100% right, but I'll make sure people see that I do have a pretty good accuracy rating when it comes to these pullbacks. Bioscience. Well, you know what this is for gonorrhea. Don't know what gonorrhea is. It must be pretty fatal. I'm going to have to look that up. So, to me, that kind of, I'd rather see it be a breast cancer stock. So we got a little flag right here. Let's look at the yearly. Let me erase this. Start fresh. Oh. It's a very good marketing idea. See, this kind of ticker makes me blush. Right there is going to be a low support. Oh, you're in it, huh? I'm going to tell everybody on social media that you have this stock. Oh, funny. Oh, let's see what we got here. We got a low. We're pulled down to this lower channel, so no strong buy at 207. But I want to look at the 20-day, see if I missed anything on the 20-day here. See, we got a little place up in here, right around the 249. We do have a flag, so it's getting ready to squeeze. This is another bearish flag. So I think when I'm looking at a bearish flag, I'm looking at the lower support scenario. That's right down here at 229. If we break out of this flag, this trend line right here, and this is on EVFM, that's strong. You could add on to around 226. I want to see that hold. 226. I like to see that hold and then bring it on back up to resistance level. 249 is going to be your resistance level to break. If you can break past that, you'll get 259. Anything above that's a gift. Add on 226, resistance to break at 259. Anything above it's a gift. And that's going to be Oh, Vegas called it too. Okay. I always check to see what kind of floats they are too. So the next one. We got about probably 15 more minutes. And I hope everybody really enjoyed this. It's good to watch after if you want to learn how to draw some of these trend lines. You know how I feel about the election. I think we're in a bull market no matter how we look at it. It's just the reactions are going to be different for each one that runs. I think the contested, probably part of it's the worst part scenario. If it's a landslide, we're going to have a nice little run into Christmas. Let me go to my little, I got some that I'm called out here in the room. Let me pull this up. This is the new room, the new part I have in the room right here. You know, I think I sometimes clutter up the room too much with a lot of my ideas, so I'm going to put a lot of them in here from now on. And I'll be putting them in, like, I was looking at Mona Lisa, MDLZ. I was looking at Disney. Did we talk about Disney already? McDonald's had a lawsuit against it. We got CMG here, pulling back to that little scenario low right there. They all have that shop, has that same kind of pattern. I think we can find a support on all these. This one here got oversold, McDonald's. I think it can pull back more. Twitter, I've told you my scenario on it. Lower's going down to 36 to 38. We got Apple. Pins are called out. Etsy's one to look at. Chewy called it down. SPX. Space is another one. So let's look at, what was that? Etsy. Etsy and Space. So here we got Etsy. Now I'm called this out. I think we're getting ready to squeeze on up in reverse. I have a low support scenario. This is a Christmas play for a swing trade. You might want to take it Monday if it pulls back more, or get it in right after the election. I think it's going to be a landslide, but a lot of people are going to be surprised. Got a low support scenario at 116.71. My second support was down here at 122.37. We hit that. I think we can get back up here to 132 on Etsy. Easy. And I'm going to say it one more time. Easy. See, we had this scenario right here, and we had this here. So that kind of makes it a hard resistance. Anything above that's going to start being a gift. Etsy. Space. I called pullback on Space because of Branson asking for more money. We had to pull back on Space. Then I'm going to do Workhorse, and I'm going to do a couple others here. Space, SPCE. Talk about Space. I got a lot of that in my head. Now we're pulling down into my support level on Space right down in here. I have a little support channel. Low case scenario, 16 bucks for a strong buy on Space. We got a resistance that in this channel. This is the channel I'm going to be playing in. That channel is between $16 and $17.50. Then the resistance, once we pull back in that channel, the resistance to break at $17.50. Space. And let's go over through let's kind of just go over through a few chart patterns here. Just stop talking about stocks. Let's just kind of think about something a little bit different here.
I'm Jeff Bishop. I'm the
He-
co-founder of Raging
that's Jeff
Bulldog.
Bishop. I don't want Jeff Bishop. What the heck? There we go. Let's go through a few chart patterns, just kind of remind people what kind of position we're in. Okay, we definitely talked about the bullish engulfing candle and a bearish engulfing candle. A lot of times when you have the three black crows, you'll get you a bullish engulfing candle. Same thing with the three white soldiers, you'll get you a bearish engulfing candle. So always remember, either one of these places could be a good entry point or maybe a good exit point. That's a scenario with an engulfing and bullish and bearish candles. We're in this period right here. We got real greedy at the top of the bubble. We're starting to pull back to that 3-month support area. Some of us are discouraged, some of us are dismayed, but I see a lot of hope coming in. I see a lot of hope. I see a lot of relief coming in, and I see a lot of optimism looking forward. So I think we're down here at this level where a lot of people are in fear and sell mode, but I think once the election's over, we'll start to be able to know exactly where we are, and we can get back up to that optimistic kind of opinion. And that's going to be the buy greed situation. And that's the scenario I think we're in right now. I want to talk a little bit about this flag right here. This is called a pennant flag. Many times it is bullish. Many times it can be bearish. It depends on market sentiment and what's in the news. But a lot of times when you see this flag, that's when anytime you see a chart starting to pattern out into a flag, that's when you want to pay most attention to it. Of course, I take these trades a lot sooner than most. But I also take them on the pullback, and I'll be drawing trend lines, and they usually pull back to that trend line ready for a scalp or a breakout. We did have the engulfing candles right here. Time to take that exit once it consolidates. That's on a pennant flag. Another scenario. Talked about the triple bottom. A lot of times this is one of my best reversal plays. Many times when I'm doing a triple bottom and I see a little higher low on the bottoms, you'll see me draw a little upward trend line. That's, to me, is telling me that the sellers are leaving the arena and the buyers are coming in. Once it breaks that triple top, once you get past the double top and you're bound to that third bottom, that's when you might want to take the trade. Don't try to chase it until you get a confirmation. If you're playing a double bottom trade, you want to try to get your confirmation above that double bottom before you take the entry. Of course, when I'm taking the trade and I have a higher low, I'm going to jump in that trade down here at the double bottom. Same as the triple bottom. When I see a higher low, I'm more bullish on the trade than I am when I just see a triple bottom. Same thing as a triple top. I never stay in a trade on a triple top. If I see lower highs on a triple top, I'll start to exit the trade. If I see a triple top and it fails, I'll exit the trade once the neckline is broke. Because maybe you could have a quad breakout. But in most cases, when I see a lower high on the triple top, I'm out of the trade way before everybody else is. Triple top. This is one of my favorite chart patterns. I talk about it tremendously. I get excited on a ascending triangle. I look for the second pullback. If it's a higher low, as I've suggested in triple bottom and also a double top, double bottom, I'm into the trade. I catch the trade before everybody else does. Once it hits that triple top resistance, it can pull back to that trend line. If it doesn't and it breaks, then we have the triple top breakout. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it's a quad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's more or less more of a bearish pattern on an ascending triangle. When you just have the up down, up, down, you're in more of a bullish pattern. The steeper the incline, the stronger the candle, the stronger the pattern, the stronger the breakout. A lot of times they can pull back to support, which is a horizontal line on the ascending triangle. Descending patterns. A lot of people get stuck in descending patterns. This is a descending flag. When you're coming from the top and you get them higher low, them lower highs, you're going to descend. So why would a person want to hold the trade knowing that you're in a descending pattern and you just want to wait for it to fail? What you want to do is you want to get out the second or third chance you get on the lower highs. If not, you're going to be stuck in a bad trade and you're going to be wishing you did. A lot of times when you're coming up from the bottom and you have a descending triangle, you definitely can pull back to a support level. Once you do that and identify the previous high, you could have a retracement back to resistance. And that would be the horizontal line of the descending triangle. If not, you could break on up a little higher. Depends on what comes in, if you have good news or bad news. Recognizing patterns way before they happen will get you in and out of a trade and save you money. If not, you'll be asking yourself, if you did get stuck into this pullback, look for that previous high. If that doesn't hold, get the hell out of it. Let me see here. It's always good to have your little map. It's always good to have your little reference tool. If you want to learn candles and you want to get into the trade and out of the trade before everybody else, have your little map to the side. Start recognizing these patterns. You have your bearish patterns and you have your bullish. Start memorizing these. Start looking back at previous breakouts and saying, wow, I could have got that trade. Wow, I remember that trade from last time. We're at that support level. So always keep that in mind. If you want to get into the trade before other people do, look at them daily candles. Look at them 1 minute candles. Big difference. It's improved my trading 100%. You know, I talk about this scenario a lot right here. I talk about this a lot right here. Let me, it's not letting me magnify it. Oh, here it is. No. So we have, like, you have your white soldiers, and then you have your 3 black crows, and then you have your other breakout. If you break past this previous high, you're going to go up higher. A lot of times when you're in trade, you can pull back to that previous high. This is detrimental to any trade you're in. Go back to the previous day and look for the previous high. Draw that as a resistance line or a support level. Always keep that previous high in mind. When you pull back to it, you're still bullish. You still could have the retracement up and break the resistance. 3 white soldiers and 3 black crows are just indicators of reversal plays. Always keep that in mind. You know, they could be a bearish day and you have 3 black soldiers come in there on an hourly chart. Always chart that 20-day 1 hour chart, and if you have 3 hours of red, many times you'll have a reversal. Many times, and many times you'll pull back to that previous high. Keep this setup in mind when you're day trading or when you're swing trading. It's a must. Let me see what I got here. This is one that I talk about a lot. I use this on the yearly chart. In scenarios like today, when we know we've had a market pullback, I'll use the 50 and the 200 SMA. I'll look for the death cross or the golden cross. The death cross is when it crosses down over the 200. Golden cross is when it crosses up over the 200. A golden cross is bullish, a death cross is bearish. 50 SMA and the 200 SMA on a yearly, daily. I also use this in the time frame of a daily 1 minute. It's called a simple moving average. It's simple. It's not price action. EMA is more of a price action average. So if you want to be simple and you want to swing trade, use the SMAs. If you're in there and you're at your desk 8 hours a day, use the EMAs. I also use the SMAs on swing trading in the daytime. I've posted that here lately. I'm familiar with it most. We had right here, we had a golden cross. Right here, we have a death cross. That's when the 50 crosses down over the 200. It's the simplest chart you could ever use. Have the RSI on the bottom of it. When you have an RSI crossover, you usually expect a bounce up. When you have an RSI crossover, you find a support level right down here, right around the 25 area. You jump in the trade right here at 142 and you take it up to 144. You find resistance. Resistance was right here. Resistance is right in here. And you just kind of look for a good spot right there, right around 144. Check this out. See? Then you had that other one right in here. That's the little scenario right about there. Maybe right in here. You're looking for places of consolidation. That's the channel. And then we finally busted above that channel. See right in here? Solid. Pulled back right to that support level after hours, off the 200. Death cross, golden cross, if you had to bounce back up. So, you know, scenario, double bottom, down here at the bottom. That would have been my entry. Once this engulfing candle broke, you could have had probably a little pullback to support level and got in the trade, took it right down here, right around 142, and got rid of it at resistance at 143.63. So that's the way you look at these trades. There's scenarios that history repeats itself and comes up and down and all around. I hope that helps. But always remember, candlesticks and chart patterns can get you in a trade and out of a trade way before anybody else. You've heard me call a SPY for the last 2 weeks. Almost every time right at the bottom. There's a reason that I'm getting more accurate with that. And it's not as much as money flow. It's more of, I already know the money flow's in there. You know, you can't tell me, okay, you know, $5 billion you got put in the SPY. There's always money going into the SPY. Always. So, you know, the scenario to get you tighter in the trade would be looking at chart patterns, supports, and pivot points and candlesticks. Because you already know a lot of stocks, money's going into the trade. That's the same as you know, like Facebook and Amazon. They're always pumping money in them. So that's another one, and let's see if we can get a couple more in here, and then I'm going to call it a day. Okay. Dead cat bounce. Anybody familiar with that scenario? We have a few dead cat bounces going on. We have the Intel right now. We had IBM. Anything that has a real sharp sell-off is a dead cat bounce. So a lot of times when I'm at a high of a stock, let's go for like, let's look at Twitter. We're going to have a dead cat bounce on Twitter. So we're going to pull up the 20-day. So you had a big old bounce and had a bounce. Started spooling off right here and she bounced up. Then we had another one right down here. And the market's sentiment is negative on this right now, or I am. Like I said, I'm biased on the trade. So I'm thinking maybe we'll have one more big candle down and then we'll start to consolidate. And once you start that consolidated period, like you see right in here, you'll have that retracement back up. But for right now, we have to think of low scenario, and this is what I call a fallen knife. I'm real good at catching knives. When I catch knives, I try to look for places of consolidation. They had previous highs. Right here, for a good example, we had that ascending triangle at 46.16. If I was to catch this knife on Friday, I would have took that trade right there and maybe run it back up. But the sentiment just sucks. I mean, it was just bearish. So I'm looking for another pullback, and then we're going to start to consolidate. Then you'll be able to start scalping it, and that'll be a dead cat bounce. That's another scenario. And I think that's about it for now. Anybody have final couple tickers that we haven't mentioned, or maybe that I've gone over and I've not talked about? Let me think. I'm going to think of one on the top of my head. Workhorse. WKHS. I'm going to see where I have an alert on Workhorse that I put out. Let me see here. Okay, this is my little theory on Workhorse here. I have a scenario to buy Workhorse at 14.51. I put this out on the 27th. Today's the 31st. That first support was right at 15.70 and 17.42. So we look at Workhorse. I have low support buy at 14.51 with a 15.70 support and a 17.42 to break. So we did hit that 15.70 support level right here and kind of went down below it. We've had lower highs. It's not really a bad descending pattern, so I think we might be finding support. Let me go to the 20-day. Nice, perfect sell-off. I think we're ready for a pocket pivot. Pocket pivot means that we're ready to start to reverse up. We'll form a cup and handle, and we'll break resistance up right around 21.20. That's going to be my long scenario on Workhorse. Strong buy at 14.51. Pretty close to my call. I called this out on the 27th, and that was back here, pre-market, right there. So we did pull back to my lower support levels, and I think we can pull back right down to this 14.51. Maybe start to retrace back up here from this level right here that we had on Friday and bring her back up. Resistance to break is going to be right in this let's say $20 scenario, 20.53 to 21.20. Workhorse. And I think, yeah, I'll go over Tesla one more time. We formed a bearish flag on Tesla Friday. I'm not too excited about that. This is the bearish flag that we formed. That's bearish. That means we could pull back to this low support of 379 and start scalping it on up. I want that 379 to hold. If I'm looking at the 20-day, I get a different scenario. I look at 371.32 for the pullback. I personally think that there was some news about the autonomous driving on it, so we'll just have to acting like it was drunk or something. We still have that. I had a flag. I called this flag out. I said we were going to break out. Instead, we broke down. I was quite disappointed in this call. So your low scenario right here at 356, 371, and 379 with a very strong buy loaded up at 336, 337. That's where you want to really set your alert for a strong buy at 336 on Tesla. All right, well, that's it. We're going to shut her down. Oh, I did get a dislike. I was waiting for that. I got one guy on here that just can't stand me. He's probably somebody I booted out or some smart ass. But I wish you all a good weekend. Be safe. Have fun. Remember, play it safe in the market until the election's over. If it's contested, play the puts, play the volatility. If it's a Biden win, play the volatility, but we will bounce back up. If it's Trump win, we'll have a correction real fast and we'll gain us probably about 1,000 points. And that's it. But always keep in mind we're going to be bullish no matter how we look at the scenario. You're welcome, June. I hope you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends. If you have family members or any children that want to learn a little bit, probably a pretty good start. So this will be recorded and it'll show up later on YouTube if you want to rewatch it. I do. I watch every one of them 2 or 3 times just to see how accurate sometimes I am and maybe some bad calls that I can improve on. I love stocks.